This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Every day and every night, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every night, I'm gonna let it shine. Every day and every night, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Take it, Hank. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine.
Last night, Daniel was taken to the emergency room. He's got gallstones. I haven't been able to get an update from him this morning. He was in, relatively good spirits considering he was in extreme pain last night waiting to get into the ER. But let's, if we could just take a moment of silence and send from our hearts a blessing to Daniel this morning. Aho. And Delia was on the email and phone last night until midnight trying to make sure we had what we needed for this morning. So thank you for being the leader.
Daniel has some big shoes to fill, that's for sure.
Yeah, and if there are a few missed cues, it's because I'm used to Daniel just knowing right where to
We're
come
going
in.
to practice the Jubilee salute.
Okay, well, you see I'm still wearing my COVID mask. I will take it down before I do my main message this morning, but I'm going to keep it on the rest of the celebration, and we're asking you all to stay masked as well, given the Delta variant. But thank you for being here. It's good to see all of you. And thank you to those of you who are out in internet land, whether you're on Facebook Live or you are on YouTube this morning. Please remember that if you're on one of those two, you can still join a Zoom coffee hour that will start as soon as we finish here. So there is a Zoom link in the e-news that you received this morning at 8 a.m. from Michele, and that Zoom link at 10:45 will be live. Jump in and you can have a coffee hour. So thank you for being here. Also, last tech reminder, airplane mode. If you don't know what that means, there's a little symbol of an airplane on the front of your phone. Make sure that's lit up. That means you're not getting into the internet locally. It's hard to get on our internet anyway, so I'd be surprised if you were, but that helps the bandwidth that we need to send out the video be cleaner and clearer. You can also just turn off your phone if you don't know how to do the airplane mode, and that'll do it. Turning off the sound, however, will not do it. So you really have to turn things off. Well, today we are dancing with change. And that is a change from what we had in the seeds at the beginning of this Via. We were originally scheduled to be dancing with someone else. But one of the big changes you notice is the band. And I'm wondering, is there anybody here who's a little bit tired of change? Yeah, there are a variety of memes making the rounds about the current COVID situation. I don't know if you've seen them, but each meme shows a first picture of someone that's happy and thriving, saying, "My fall plans." And then a second picture that says, "Delta variant." And whatever the first picture was has become sort of disastrous and miserable. Some of them are quite dark, actually. I don't know if you know how many of you watched This Is Us? The show This Is Us? A few of you know. Well, all right. If you know This Is Us, there's not enough of it to try to explain the meme. Go look at the meme. It's pretty dark. Okay. But the dark mood, I think, is not just about COVID. The latest reports from the International Panel on Climate Change are deeply disturbing. The Taliban has retaken Afghanistan. Haiti suffered another major earthquake. And some days it just feels like too much. Even if you're trying not to think about all of those things, they're just in the air. We absorb the energy of living in these times. So how in the world do we dance with these changes? How do we live with hope and joy in these apocalyptic times? Can we hold on to love and dance with her? I know at least one couple in our congregation today has been dancing with love for about 50 years now. Kathy and John are going to celebrate their 50th anniversary with us on Friday. And anyone who's done anything for 50 years knows you have to have a lot of love to keep dancing with it. This morning we are dancing with change. So let's get to dancing. Let's dance.
We are dancing in the light of God. 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 We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing in the light of God. See a hamba kukanina quinkles. 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 See a hamba, see a hamba, see a hamba kukanina quinkles. See a hamba, see a hamba, see a hamba kukanina quinkles. Oh yeah, yeah.
Wrong song. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Wrong song, but it still works. One more time. We are dancing in the light of God. 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 We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing in the light of God. We are dancing, we are dancing, we are dancing in the light of God.
it's wonderful to be hearing that song and look up and seeing these prayer flags that this community has raised up, dancing in the wind, dancing in the light, as we start to really experience some of these little experiences that we're having. I'm to a point where the change is starting to have a profound effect on all of us. But I had to remind myself that before we had the internet and CNN and all these news outlets, all of this was happening naturally. Lightning storms were happening and wildfires were happening naturally. Storms, hurricanes, these things, earthquakes, these things, no matter how much climate change there is, were happening to begin with. It's not to discount the change that's happening in our environment. But let's remember where we come from. Let's remember the beauty and the awesomeness of nature. Let's not discount the birth of this beautiful planet that we call home and all the changes that she has to go through in order for us to grow. If you will, to the east, please. Way away. In these times of change for you, know that we do it with the most humble and quiet heart that we have. In our silence, know the depths of our love in our words, and all of those things we know not to say. In a good way. We love you.
Let's join in the first song, well, the second song, but the opening song, as we feed the hungry.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. No, I won't be afraid. Oh, I won't be afraid. Just as long as you stand by me. So darling, darling, stand upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea. I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. So darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now, stand by me, stand by me. So darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Oh, stand now, stand by me, stand by me. Whenever you're in trouble, won't you stand by me? Oh, stand by me. Oh, darling, won't you stand by me?
And now Michele is going to do the Jubilee in action.
Okay, is this on? It is on, okay. So, if you want to visit the Join This Sunday page on our website, you'll find a lot of things there, including the link to the Zoom coffee hour right after this service. It's right on the home page, or you can, there's a drop-down menu under Sunday celebrations. There's also tips on there on how to improve the sound on your device for those of you out there in internet land. August 29th mini retreat is still happening. It's almost full. This morning there were 3 spots left on it. There is a sheet over there that you can sign up on if you're here. And I think there's 3 empty spots there and places for wait lists for other people. And of course you can get to it online right from the home page or from the Jubilee in Action section of the website. The Creation Care Alliance is having which we're a member of, by the way, is having a virtual gathering August 19th from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. And they're going to be sharing information and inviting people to build relationships with others dedicated to protecting the environment in Western North Carolina. Julie Parker's art is in the hospitality room. Really beautiful photographs printed on canvas, and they'll be there through the rest of the month. And a portion of that goes to the Hunger Fund. And finally, keep those blossoms coming. It's really beautiful to see them every month, thanks to those of you who have been, every week, thanks to you who have brought them. And that is it for Jubilee in Action today.
In each and every week, I am certain this thing is on.
Yep,
Okay.
you
Wow.
are.
It's even boomier than I thought. Good morning.
Good morning.
What would David Bowie do if he were with us right now? He would say, changes. Turn and face the strange. It's Jubilee, you know, turning and facing the strange right now is pretty easy. But what a wild year and a half. I mean, that's a silly thing to say, but when it comes to David Bowie, that particular song, every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. Oh, good Lord, it's prophetic. Changes. But as Yona, that seems to be an aspect of nature. A critter is going up over a hill. It's beautiful day, munching on some grass. Uh-oh, here comes a predator. Changes. Our ancestors set up a nice little village by a river, and everything is nice and peaceful. Uh-oh, here comes a marauding horde. Changes. Well, and then there's the unmentionable marauding horde that comes in the form of something microscopic that keeps us all from seeing our faces. Lots of metaphorical things. But it's been going on for as long as this thing has been turning and facing the strange. How do we turn and face the strange in our own lives every day and make something out of it? How do we turn obstacles into miracles? Maybe through prayer. Maybe through connection. Maybe there's no words for it. I invite you to ring and sing bowls and bells, light candles at the western wall. If you're online, put your prayer requests in chat. To everything turn, turn, turn. Even when we're not ready. To everything turn, turn, turn. When we place trust and hope that it becomes a blessing. To everything turn, turn, turn. And we will find a message that we ourselves are a blessing for others as we turn to face the strange. Amen. And oh yeah. I invite you to share God's peace with one another after we sing.
Share the peace.
This is our gift of song. And of course, the song we were going to do was called The Change that Daniel wrote. So now there's another change. So I decided that in order to honor the theme of change, that we would do something about water, because the water changes as it needs to. It just goes with the flow, as they say. So I'm going to start you guys off with some clapping. And here we go. Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in red? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in white? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in blue? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be some jubilance acting the fool. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in red? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children that Moses led. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the
Thank you very much. Thank you guys.
And you guys realize, like, they just decided that a few minutes before the thing started, right? So, what do you do when you arrive and you find that your band leader is in the hospital? Wing it, and they winged it beautifully. Listen now for these ancient words. Thank you. I'll take this off. That came off too. And start all over. Listen, whoops. Did I must have undone it while I was putting it back on. Now, nope, do not play well together. Listen now for these ancient words. We know, this is from Romans, the 8th chapter by the Apostle Paul. We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labor pains until now. And not only the creation, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly while we wait for adoption, the redemption of our bodies. For in hope we were saved. Now, hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness. For we do not know how to pray as we ought, but that very Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words. And God, who searches the heart, knows what is in the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. We know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to God's purpose. What then are we to say about these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? For I am convinced that neither life, nor death, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God. Amen. And in a little more playful way from Hafiz, pulling out the chair beneath your mind and watching you fall upon God. What else is there for Hafiz to do that is any more fun than that in the world? So at our staff meeting earlier, it is. This is Ancient Wisdom and Holy Word.
Thanks be to all that provides and holy.
All creation is wisdom and holy word.
All creation sings of wisdom and God. Hallelujah.
Thank you. Well, at our staff meeting check-in earlier this week, we noted our team was experiencing a fair amount of either physical and or emotional discomfort. And that was before Daniel ended up in the ER with gallbladder pain. And Jay reminded us that these are the dog days of summer. Curious, I decided to look up where that term comes from. It refers to the star Sirius, excuse me, which is the brightest star, the brightest true star in the night sky. Now, Sirius is known as the dog star. It's part of the constellation Canis Major, or Big Dog. And in the summer, Sirius rises and sets with the sun. On July 23rd, it is in conjunction with the sun, and because the star is so bright, the ancient Romans believed that it actually gave off heat and added to the sun's warmth, accounting for this long stretch of sultry weather. Thus, the weeks before and after this occurrence are known as the dog days. However, Yona had a different interpretation from growing up in Cherokee. The dog days there are known as the time of year when snakes are expected to shed their skins. And you gotta watch out. A snake sheds after a significant growth period has occurred. The outer scales covering a snake's body don't grow with a snake. So about 5 to 14 days before the actual shedding, the snake's body begins to undergo changes. The most noticeable are that the snake becomes inactive. The eyes begin to cloud, and the skin appears dull. The behavior of the snake changes too. It becomes irritable and spends most of its time hiding or soaking. The snake's vision is blurred in that pre-shed period, and not being able to discern definite shapes causes the snake to strike out when cornered or harassed. So feeling vulnerable and easily irritated seemed a pretty good match for where several of us confessed to be earlier this week. Being able to reframe it as a time of skin shedding and growth helped us give ourselves and each other a little bit of grace. I feel like the whole world is in a skin shedding phase. We seem to have outgrown the skin we've been wearing, but we haven't quite shed it yet. So our vision is dulled and blurred and unable to see clearly our way forward. We strike out at each other. We feel cornered, harassed, vulnerable. If we can keep in mind this reframe, maybe it will be easier to offer ourselves and each other the grace we all need. We're shedding because we're growing. We're vulnerable because we're changing. It's dulled now because we're preparing to see things more clearly. Now, this is not a new experience for humanity, as was pointed out earlier, or for the globe. In his letter to the church in Rome, Paul wrote, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning in labor pains until now, and not only the creation, but we ourselves groan inwardly as we wait for redemption." Paul. You know, love him or hate him, I can almost forgive all of his sins for having written the 8th chapter of Romans. He sees that our struggles are not simply personal, but that the whole creation is undergoing change and rebirth, that every part of our world, not just the human part, groans with the labor of birthing this new world. Creation has certainly been screaming at us this year. Is it possible that these cries are labor pain rather than the cries of death? We can hope so. And Paul says, hope is what saves us. Now, hope that is seen is not hope. For who hopes for what is seen? But if we hope for what we do not see, we wait for it with patience. Waiting with patience does not mean waiting in a stupor. Action can be patient. We can begin to act as if what we hope for is possible. So this week was the 32nd anniversary of Jubilee. August 11th, 1989, Howard and a motley crew came and got this place going. And we've seen a lot of changes in those 32 years. In the 12 months that I've been your minister of transition, I've cycled in and out of hope for a vibrant future for Jubilee, if I'm fully honest with you. Sometimes with patience, sometimes not so much. But when I imagine our current situation as a snake shedding its skin, I'm able to reframe the blurred vision and anxiety as a period of vulnerability when we no longer fit into our old skin, but we haven't completely shed it yet. When I see this community's uncertainty as part of a larger sea change, the groaning of the whole creation, then I can sense being part of a greater purpose. But here we are, dancing with change, and change keeps stepping on our toes. What are we to do? If we're in that pre-shedding moment of blurred vision and we can't even see quite clearly what we hope for, how do we move forward? Paul reminds us the Spirit helps us in our weakness. For we do not know how to pray as we ought. But that very Spirit intercedes with sighs too deep for words. Oh, right. We aren't alone. There is a Spirit, one Spirit, that is in us and in our community, between us, among us, in our nation, in our world, in the whole creation. A Spirit that can pray in us and through us, even when we don't know how to hope or pray. A Spirit that intercedes with sighs too deep for words. And furthermore, Paul says, we know that all things work together for good for those who love God. All things work together for good. Say that with me. All things work together for good. And then Paul really ramps it up. What then are we to say about these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? For I am convinced that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor rulers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor powers, nor height, nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God. If God is for us, who could be against us? And here's the thing we know. God is for us. God is for us. God is for us. Augustine prayed, "Oh God, you made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they find their rest in you." What if everything that feels uncertain now in your own heart, in our community, in the world beyond, is part of a divine restlessness? What if we are being stirred and shaken until we seek rest in the only place we'll truly find it? If God is for us, who can be against us? This is why Hafiz can tease us, pulling out the chair beneath your mind and watching you fall upon God. What else is Hafiz to do that's any fun? The chair can be pulled out from under us because God is for us. We do fall there. Because Spirit will intercede beyond our ability to articulate our needs. Because nothing can separate us from the love of God. Say this after me. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor angels nor rulers, nor things present nor things to come, nor powers nor height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God. Can I get an amen? Amen. For I am convinced. There's a scene in the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis when one of the children has been turned into a dragon. And he's in a lot of pain and he's miserable. And he doesn't want to be a dragon. And in the middle of the night, the lion, Aslan, comes to him. And the boy is afraid, even though he's not a boy now, he's a dragon, and he might have been able to kill the lion. But Eustace, the boy turned dragon, is not afraid of being eaten. He just senses that something fearful is about to happen. Aslan the lion takes Eustace, the dragon boy, to a large well and tells him to undress and get in the water. Well, the dragon isn't wearing any clothes, so he's confused for a minute, but then he realizes that maybe like a snake, he can shed his skin. And so he starts to scratch, and it starts to flake off, and then finally it peels like a banana, and he's able to step out of it. And so he starts to step into the water, and he looks down, and he sees his feet are still scaly and gnarly, and he looks at himself and he realizes he's still a dragon. So he does it again. He scratches and shakes and he pulls it off, and then he steps out again. And he's got to keep doing it. And so he scratches some more, and another layer comes off. A third time, he steps out, and he's still a dragon. And so Aslan says, let me do it. Eustace is a little scared, but he lies down, and he lets the lion come at him with his enormous claws. And the first cut is so deep and so painful that he thinks maybe his heart is being ripped out. And as the lion starts tearing off the skin, the pain was matched by the pleasure of Eustace feeling himself being freed. Aslan pulled off a thicker, more gnarly layer than the boy had been able to get off himself. And then Aslan threw Eustace into the water, where he, a boy again, swam and splashed with joy. Maybe our world and this community, and some of us are like snakes shedding our skin, a little dull and cranky because we can't quite get out of them yet. Or maybe we're more like Eustace. And while we can scratch and shed layers of ourselves, we need something sharp to cut through to our true selves. We need God to slash through the layers that we've been dressed in that no longer serve us. We need a spiritual intervention to bring us back to where God created us to be. Maybe we need to lie down and let that divine claw just sink into our being and feel that mix of fear and pain and pleasure at being freed. If God is for us, who can be against us? And God is for us. So we can shed these skins as many times as we need to, or we can lie back and let God cut through them and bring us back to ourselves. Whichever we do, we can do it in trust, because we are convinced that nothing in all creation can separate us from God's love. And that's why so often we sing here, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all shall be well. We're going to invite Yona to the table with me here, and we're going to pass around the bowls. We're going to sing a little All Shall Be Well while we're passing around the bowls. But I want you to just take a moment, and if you have an offering that you're going to put in the plate, I invite you to put it between your hands or maybe hold it to your heart. And if you don't have something physical that you're putting in the plate today, I invite you to hold in your hand, hold in your heart, whatever it is you're offering in love today, to this world, to this community, to your family.
And the ceremonial aspect that we're going to be doing with this is, in our traditions, whenever we make offering for our community, which is this money, this energy, the exchange of energy, we do a ceremony where we take the offering, the gift, and we offer it 3 times before. Once for the past, the vision and the prayers of our ancestors. Offer it 1 time. The second time we offer it for ourselves, our visions and our prayers. And the third time we offer it for the visions of the future, for all of us and Mother Earth. And then on the 4th time, the community chooses whether or not to receive the gift. It's an offering in a good way.
to stand and dedicate the gifts that we just received. That was pretty fast. We're doing peace. Peace for peace.
One, two, three. Oh, let me just start.
Peace from me to you. Keep singing. All right, Julie. Oh, we actually got one more song. We're just gonna keep singing, keep singing, keep singing. Go out this week knowing that nothing can separate us. If you're shedding your skin, do a little dance, get less cranky, get out of that old thing. Walk into the world knowing that God is for you, so nothing can stand against you. Amen. Now we're singing our final song, and then we'll dance. There we go. Who knows? Who knows where we're